He will. He's done it again.
Quick conversations with King Drew Million. Quick conversations with King Drew Million. Quick conversations with King Drew Million.
Chop it up.
Quick conversations with King Drew Million.
Let's chop it up.
What's happening, family? Welcome to another episode of Quick Conversation with King Drew Millions. It's your boy, Mr. Quick.
And I'm King Drew Millions.
And we have a special guest here with us, man. This man has changed his life, and I ain't gonna say he did a 360, he did a 180. And when I tell you he made a U-turn and changed things around in his life, man, and now he's also trying to do the same for those around him, I would love to introduce to y'all Mr. James Odom.
Thank you. What's up, man? Y'all got these cool names, man. I'm just James, man. Now
Man,
you making me feel like I gotta go home. I gotta work on this, man.
Come on, man.
Yeah,
For
man.
real.
I'm gonna have to chop this up, man.
Oh, man, J.O. is a cool little old name. I like
Okay,
J.O., man.
All right.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can rock with J.O.
Yeah, man. So from here on, we're going to call him J.O., all right?
All right.
Yeah.
That'll work.
Let's do it.
Yes,
Give me
sir.
some spray paint, man. I'm gonna put it on the back of a building, man.
Nah, real talk,
Put it
man.
on the bridge.
Make it official, yeah.
Where it
Yeah.
say be
There you go.
someone, then under that
There you
J.O.
go. That's it, man.
Yeah, for
Official.
real. He actually know the dude that did the Be Someone.
Oh, you do? For
Yeah,
real?
yeah. We brought him out to the Opportunity Center, and he got a chance to talk to the kids, man.
Oh, wow. That's major.
Yeah.
Because I don't know him. I just see it everywhere.
Well, you know what's funny, man, is he was he wasn't a public figure for a long time. You know, he would go out and he would sell a lot of be someone type gear. So he's got like T-shirts and stuff. That's how he makes his money. But he always had his face covered. He would wear a mask all the time. And when he takes pictures, he put his hand over his face. And only recently, after he worked through that whole case, because the city came after him for doing that be someone stuff.
Oh, so that is true. Somebody told me
Oh, yeah, man.
he
But that
hiding
became
because
a
it's-
staple in the city because I
Yeah.
got it tatted on me.
Yeah,
Oh, for real?
Yeah, I got Be Someone tatted on my wrist.
Oh, yeah, I see it. now.
yeah, they came after him, man. But I think he settled all that now, so he'll show his face. He don't like to, but he'll show his face. But he came out and talked to our kids. He was real, man. He was real.
For real. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a little fun fact at the
Yeah.
beginning. I love it. That's
Yeah.
what
You
we
know, we
here for.
always drop them fun facts on y'all,
Little
man.
quick gem for the.
You know what I mean? That's what we
I'm saying?
do, baby.
Little layup. All right. Well, this since we got you on here, man. First off, we appreciate you for coming. It's
Yeah.
been a
Real
while.
talk.
My
Thank you, man.
man's here,
Appreciate that.
Quick talk very highly of you. This my first time meeting you.
Yeah.
But everything that you've been through and everything that you stand for, like he stand behind it 100%.
Appreciate that. Good looking out.
And he like, man, we got to get him on the show. And I was like, hey, I'm ready. So
Yeah.
let's jump into it. So
All right.
who is James Odom? Where you from?
I'm from Pasadena, man. So I think one thing I should just put out there is the whole story of my life is I've always been too white to be brown and too brown to be white, and that's real.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Man.
so my grandmother actually crossed into United States and had my mother in the United States, took her back to Mexico and raised her. And so
Okay.
when my mother came back to United States as an adult, she met my dad, who was a white guy on a Harley Davidson. And here I am. So I always tell my wife, you get the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Nah, real talk.
But
Real talk.
but I always say, man, when I grew up, I didn't have a lot of white friends,
Mm.
and I know we'll get to this eventually. But
Right.
I ended up surrounding myself with a gang that was primarily Hispanic, and for a long time, there was a period where I didn't like white people either, just because that was the way it was in the neighborhood where I was from.
Right, right,
So that was something that was new to me, man. I consider myself brown on the inside. I was raised brown. But I get it, man. It's a skin color thing sometimes.
So
Ain't it a movie like that, American Me?
American
or
Me.
Yeah. For
Yeah.
real.
So
Yeah.
you mixed with
Hispanic and white, yeah.
Okay. So how was it growing up in Pasadena?
Pasadena's changed over the years. It's predominantly Hispanic now, and it was when I was a kid. But when my mom came across the border into the United States, back in those days when I was a kid, my mother would try to speak to us in Spanish, and my dad would say, "Don't do that. You're in the United States. We speak English in the United States. Don't talk to my kids in Spanish." And so we didn't get an opportunity to learn firsthand Spanish, from somebody who's first generation. And so now that's changed. If you're bilingual, you're making an extra
Right.
$1,500 a year
Absolutely.
on your paycheck just because you're bilingual. Yeah, so
So do you know how to speak Spanish?
I can order my food in Spanish.
So broken Spanish.
And if you're
basically.
talking about me in Spanish, I can pick
You
up
can
on it.
understand,
That's
yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
got you. So I mean, Being white, Pasadena, white. So did you have an identity crisis growing up?
I don't know if it was an identity crisis. So here's the deal. So, I joined a gang at a young age, but I didn't know it was a gang. I just knew that these guys were something that I thought was cool. And so I'll back up a little bit. So we didn't have two things in my house. We didn't have central air conditioning and we didn't have food. And for those reasons alone, I didn't want to be at my house. My dad was an alcoholic. He used a lot of drugs. I didn't want to be in that household at all. I was just unhealthy. And so I would leave. And my best friend in fifth grade had air conditioning and he had food. And that's enough to keep me there. And so when I was there, I didn't know that these guys were a gang, but I saw older men coming in, guns, drugs, cars, listening to music. Too Short. I can tell you every single lyric from a Too Short album.
Yeah.
So, when I saw that as a kid, I just thought that was the coolest thing ever. And I wanted to be whatever that was.
Right.
And even when I found out it was a gang before I got in, they explained to us what they were. I still didn't think it was bad because I never saw them do anything bad. I just saw barbecues and people supporting each other,
Right.
hanging
saw
out
the
on a
good side of
Sunday.
it.
Yeah,
So it was like the family unity and
exactly.
a little bit of prospering that really kind of draws you in.
Exactly.
In
I want to be clear. It wasn't like I saw these people committing crimes and I
Right.
thought to myself, I want to be bad like them.
Right.
It was that I saw family, and I didn't come from that, and so I wanted to be a part of that.
So it really was one of those situations where you kind of found a gang or the gang found you for the search for love or family.
That's
or
right.
Connection of friends and unity.
That's right. I get asked a lot why do kids join gangs, and I try to give people an answer you don't find on the internet. So my answer is always this: kids join gangs because they're looking for something not found in the home, whatever that might be.
Right.
Whether it's love, acceptance, validation, safety, in my case, food and air conditioning.
So like how the young folks said now, you jumped off the porch at like around the 5th grade.
I was about 11 when I started hanging out with the gang, and probably about like 12ish, I started asking to get in, and they just laughed it off. You're too young. And so around like the age of 13, we started kind of convincing them that we were worthy enough, to be a part of this. And they put us down around 13, 14. Me and my best friend were two of the youngest guys that got in first. And the deal was that we could get in first at a young age, and we were going to be allowed to initiate a whole nother generation to keep this gang thing going. Because the old heads were getting old. And so the only way they were going to stay relevant was they had to let some young heads in. And so that's what we did. We got in and we had to fight each other for a minute and a half. And then we had to fight one of the old guys for a minute and a half. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you I won.
So they really made y'all do it the traditional way.
Yeah.
Because I know when we were coming up, gangs started getting kind of popular. But to be honest with you, it was a lot of like, I don't know the word to use.
It was a fashion, man.
Right. More like a fad. People
like you could pick which one. I ain't gonna say this was across the board, but in some areas and some places, you could pick based on who you hung with or the colors that you choose like to wear or what have you.
Yeah.
But I didn't get into that area. But what I got into was the Gen organization, which was a lot similar to we wore our colors. Our rivals was the presidents within the school. We had other chapters at other schools. And not only that, we had our own initiation where we had to learn poems and the history of the organization. We also had a hell night, you know what I mean, where they terrorize us and stuff like that. So it was similar too, and it was right around the same time. I was 14 years old, and it was just like, man, it was cool. Like, it was a great networking tool. Like, some of those guys I still speak to, and they are in, high places within the school system and stuff like that. But I think it's so much like a gang, as far as fraternities is concerned, period. Any organization, you can pretty much make it seem like it's a gang.
That's right, yeah.
Whether it be a football team or anything, because you have your fans, you have people that ride for you regardless if you're right, if you're wrong. It's just, a family unit.
That's right, yeah.
And see, I ain't have any brothers or anything like that. I had cousins and good friends. So it was just like, okay, these were my brothers. You know what I mean? Masons call them their cable toes. Like, these are the guys that I was online with. These are the guys I'm riding with regardless.
Yeah,
for
sure.
Got you. So for me, I was just chasing women.
But see, the gents got all the girls as far from what I seen, you know what I mean? Like, think about it. When we went to other schools, we already had some friends because of the organization.
Yeah.
So they gonna introduce us to the girls at they school. You know what I mean? Think
Right,
about it,
right,
Drew.
right.
Every party I went to, I knew somebody.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. So me, I don't know. I just always shied away from. Well, I guess for me being in the gang or something like that, I had a lot of friends that started joining them, but I don't like committing.
Yeah.
That's honestly around that time when everybody was joining gangs, all my friends, I just didn't simply do it because of the commitment. I'm like, I already don't like going to school.
Yeah.
I already don't like doing things with people on a routine basis. So
Yeah.
for people to pull up and tell me I have to do this, have to go here, have to do this, I'm like, nah, I don't want to be a part of that. But so when you joined,
I was gonna say what's interesting, man, is like the people adapt to what you just said, right? So gangs are traditional in a sense where you get put down, you get initiated. It's a formal process. There's a time limit. There's a commitment involved. It's a lifelong commitment. And people got to the point, just like you were saying, where they didn't want to make that commitment. And back like in the late 90s, that's when we started having an emergence in Houston with cliques, where you get all the good that comes with a gang,
right.
and you don't have to take all the bad. You don't have to commit. You could be in 4 or 5 different cliques at one time, and you could be a Crip and a Blood, and
Right.
and you know what I'm saying, like, and you can
that's
go
how-
all over the city
That's
now,
how
you
it
know.
was,
And
because
that-
it was cliques of
right.
Bloods and Crips
Mhm.
all in one. Like, man, bro, y'all not even supposed to like each other, because I know I saw colors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I grew up watching colors, so I knew I had an idea. I didn't say I don't know,
Yeah.
but I had an idea of
Yeah.
what gang culture was. Watching movies like South Central, like those things kind of introduced me to gangs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Watching movies like Minister Society, like you can actually see the gang activity in the background necessary, but it's like, what's that? What they doing? Like, oh, I see a handshake. Like
Yeah.
after a while, you become familiar with it, but first hands on, nah.
I think that I didn't think about that, but you made a valid point too, and I think that's what helped me shy away from it too. Because growing up in high school or middle school, cliques were forming, and I were part. I was like part of 5, 6 different cliques. But like you say, if I woke up tomorrow, I'm like, man, I don't want to be in this clique
That's
no more.
it.
It wasn't no. And then on another note, even with that, I am the type of person, if I'm committed to something, I'm committed. It was confusing to me to, like he said, to see around that time, people, Bloods hang with Bloods, Crips hang with Crips, like different gangs kind of like committing crimes. And in my mind, I'm like, that ain't, if I'm going to be blue, I'm going to be blue.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm going to be red, I'm going to be red.
Yeah,
So it started, I was like, nah, that ain't really my thing.
Yeah.
But for you, when you joined, like, was it that, let me see, like, were they that strict on y'all, or was it kind of lenient?
So the gang, so back in the early 90s is when like Crips, Bloods, folks, and people started like hitting the scene in Texas, right? And so nobody in Texas really knows what this is. So they're looking at California, they on the internet, they looking at movies. Oh, this is what it's supposed to look like, and they're trying to imitate all that. And I won't take anything away or disrespect any of those guys. They believed in what they believed in. I was part of a predominantly Hispanic gang, and so which was mostly like the Cholo style culture. So we were Dickies, Converse, not a whole lot of rules other than just loyalty, and just and tradition. You know,
What
doing
they
the
say,
same thing
the
over
higher
and
the
over.
sock, the downer the fool. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, we didn't have a lot of signs and symbols and colors other than just the Roman numeral 13. You know, and that's pretty much it, man. And you know, we barbecued every Sunday, and you know, every year, you know, on Easter, we went to the San Jacinto Monument Park, and everybody came over to the house and brought their Dickie suits, and we took our time and ironed them, and we ironed our bandanas, and we starched them out, and we put our Chuck Taylors in the sink with some Ajax and scrubbed them with a toothbrush, and you know, we took pride in how we looked, you know, and that part of it is really, I think, what I loved about the gang life, not the idea of committing crimes or hurting people. I really just like the idea of just like unity and everybody doing, you know, something that I felt like I could attach myself to.
So did y'all actually have to go out and like do
Gotta
stuff?
put in work.
Did you actually
gotta
have to put in work?
No doubt. Yeah. Yeah. There was a whole lot of that. You know, we'll talk a little bit about it later when we get to that point, but I did put a book together that I'm getting ready to publish. And in that book, I go through and kind of outline some of the things that I got myself involved in. Not everything, but as much as I could get away
Right,
with
right.
without putting a book out and going to jail, you know.
Right,
So
right. Self-indict yourself.
yeah, so I tried to put as much as I could in there. But oh yeah, you know, I had to put in work, and you know, one of the things that I like about this book is that I put in receipts. You know what I'm saying? So my wife used to work for the school district that I went to school at, and she was able to pull my my disciplinary history, and so I got my record from her, and I was able
Right.
to put that in the book. And so I was able to get my high school transcript that shows I was in 9th grade for 3 years and only had 3
Wow.
credits.
Wow.
And so that's in there.
Yeah.
Jeez.
The times that my house was shot at and I made the newspaper, those are in there as well. And so, so my book's coming with receipts, man, for people that say that was inflated or that didn't really happen. I think they're going to look at this book and turn the pages and see a shocker.
So were you the only child?
No, I had 2 sisters.
They was around the same age? Or
I'm the
was it
middle. I'm the middle child.
Oh, so you got that middle child syndrome.
Middle
huh?
child syndrome.
just wanted his way or no
Nah,
way?
for real. But that middle child syndrome thing is a real thing from what I've read, and it's like the middle child is trying to get the attention that the oldest child is getting, but wants to be treated like a baby, like the youngest child. And it's just like it's like a misfit situation. It's like, man, and then you're a male. So it's like I can only imagine being in that position. Like, hey, I know y'all see me, but at the same time, they're holding you to high regards as far as responsibility is concerned because you're a male.
Yep.
Yeah. And if you ain't getting it at home, where you going to get it from?
Yep.
The streets.
Yeah.
Right. You know, so I've been in a lot of fights, and I won't sit up here and tell you I won them all because I lost a whole lot before I ever started winning a couple of those. But the first fight I got into, I was in 5th grade, and there was this headbanger kid that didn't like the fact that I was hanging out with Hispanics. And so he came up to me and said, "You don't know your place in this world."
Oh, wow.
And I didn't know how to take that because I was really confused. 5th grade, you're not really thinking about color at this point in time. I'm just identifying with the people who I feel are most like me, right? And so in 5th grade, we ended up having this fight, and my best friend's older brother, they were gang members. Again, I didn't know they were gang members. I went to him and I said, "Hey, man, these headbangers are trying to jump me, man. These guys want to fight." And so I told him who they were, and he kind of knew who they were. Went to their house, had a conversation with them, and set up a fight for us. And so he comes to me, he's like, "You gonna fight today at the park?" I was like, "I bet." And I ain't never been in a fight before in 5th grade.
Yeah.
So then they start coaching me, right? Hands in front of your face. Don't ever put them down. Be the first to swing.
And it's right
keep your
before the
eyes
fight.
open. Right before the fight. It's like a quick crash course of like fighting for dummies 1-on-1, you know?
For real.
And so,
Did you win that one?
well, okay, I'm getting to it. So he tells me, he says, "You better swing first because if you don't, when you get back to the house, we're swinging first." So they put that fear of God in me, right? So we get out there, 2 5th grade kids, we're in a circle, and I swing first and we start fighting. And so I don't really know who won because I was in 5th grade, but he ain't here today. We're gonna say I won on that one. I won that one.
You won.
But the point I was trying to make was when the fight was over, I got more handshakes, more hugs, more hell yeah, more like that's what I'm talking about, or you know,
Made
I got
you feel
more praise
accepted,
and
made you-
approval,
Right.
and I had gotten at home in years.
And not only that, you showed heart. Regardless if you won or you lost, you know what I mean? A lot of people would have shied away and ran away, you know, or tried to find somebody to fight for them, and you stood 10 toes down.
But it's addicting because then I found myself wanting to fight just so people could come back around and say, "That's what's up, man. You did a good job."
Oh, you wanted
You know
that
what I'm saying?
love
That's
that
right.
you got
That
afterwards.
gratification.
Right.
Yeah.
I
That
found that
gratification.
affirmation, you know, and praise by doing stupid stuff like that.
Yeah. And I think that's a lot what's going on with these youth today. You know what I mean? Like they're getting praised for improper things. I mean, if you got somebody that's sitting here saying he your OG, but he only a couple years older than you, he like, man, I already know you gonna get some little juvenile time, you know what I'm saying, in comparison to me. I'm going to the county. Man, go ahead and go hit this lick. You know what I'm saying? Man, you the homie, and then when you actually hit the lick, they're gonna break bread with you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, you're not gonna get what they got out of the situation. You might get 5-10% off the whole take. You know what I mean? But to just get that love, like you said, it speaks volumes to a kid that's not receiving that love at home.
Yeah, you know, me and you talked about affirmation a couple weeks ago, and I was telling you there's this study that was done, and they studied 3 different classes of individuals. So they studied people in poverty, then they studied the middle class, then they studied the high professional class, right? And so what they found was people in poverty at home, they put these tape recorders in this house, and they were recording just child and parent talking. And what they found over a 3-year period was that people in poverty are only getting 6 affirmations per hour from their family.
Wow.
And professional families are getting 32 affirmations per hour. And that's good job. I'm proud of you. You look nice today. Thanks for cleaning your room. I heard you did good at school. I'm glad you woke up on time. Thanks for helping out in the kitchen. Those are affirmations. And, if you don't get them at home, you're going to get them somewhere else.
Right. No
Dang,
lie.
that's deep,
No
bro.
lie. I mean, so you kind of told us, you jumped off the porch a little bit early, did put in work. But my question is like, when was your first experience that kind of put you in the position to like get incarcerated as a juvenile? Did you get incarcerated?
No, I was on probation twice, but I never got incarcerated.
Okay.
So the first time, a friend of mine, I was at a friend's house, and this is in the book, so I'll just talk about it. And I got in trouble for it already. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So a friend of mine handed me a rifle. I was at his house, and I ain't never held a rifle. I had held some guns, some pistols before, but I ain't never held a rifle. Right, rifles are for like old white hunters. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't be running around the hood with a rifle. I mean, we talk about rifles today. We're talking about ARs, ARPs, and but when you're a kid, when he pulls out a rifle, it's an old man's rifle. So I ain't never seen a rifle before. Deer hunting rifle, right? I didn't know how to use it, so I pulled it out and I was holding on to it, and the neighbor's dog could hear us in the backyard and was like barking, and so my friend said, "Man, somebody should shut that dog up." And so I just pointed the gun over there and pulled the trigger. I didn't load a round in there. I didn't put a round in there. I didn't even know how to put a round in there. And it went off, And,
so it was already around in it.
It was already around in it. It was already around chambered in the gun. And when I pulled the trigger, it hit that dog and it scared the life out of me. And so the dog started whimpering. I dropped the gun and ran and went home. Police showed up at my house and they arrested me and took me to jail. And, juvenile probation brought me in and I had to visit with, they do what's a little mental health assessment. They ask you some questions, but they were asking me some strange questions. Like, did I ever want to kill myself? I was like, no.
Oh yeah.
Then they was like, did you feel power after you shot that animal? Did you feel power over that? And I was like, nah, I felt pretty bad, man. That broke my heart, because I love animals. But I know what they were I know now what they were getting at. People that have the tendency to hurt animals usually have a history of abuse, which
it's
probably
like a mental health illness.
was probably lined up with me, and I know that's what they were concerned about.
So was that the pivotal moment after?
No, man. I wish it was, man.
Right.
So the second time on probation, a friend of mine let me borrow a gun, and he said I needed it for safety and protection, so I had it, and I was walking home, and it was hot, and we from Texas, so if you listen to this and you from Texas, you already know what I'm saying in the summertime.
Right.
And I was like, man, it's a long walk home. I'd love to be at home in the AC, and this kid just comes riding by on a bike, and it just felt like I was supposed to pull out this pistol and say, "Give me your bike." You know what I'm saying?
Man.
So that's exactly what I did, man. And
Yo.
he gives me the bike, and
Of course.
I jump on it, and as soon as my ass hit that seat, a police officer is riding down the road, and so I'm thinking, man, I hope this guy don't run out in the street and stop him. And sure enough, he's like both hands out, "Hey, help, help!" And cop pulls over, starts chasing me. I run, and I end up getting caught with a pistol. And so that was my second time on probation.
Okay. So was that the pivotal moment?
No, it wasn't. That's gonna be a good book, bro.
Oh man,
get you some coffee
Hey,
for a long.
y'all
Get ready
gotta-
for a long read.
What's the name of the book? Let's go and say the name of the book.
So the name
right
of the
now.
book is called Behind the Tie.
Behind the Tie.
Yeah, and on the front cover, it's a picture of a suit, but the tie is a bandana to just kind of represent like there's a story behind that bandana. Pivotal moment. My best friend, the whole reason why I joined the gang to begin with, to make a long story short, again, everything's in the book, but to make a long story short, he got shot and he got paralyzed. And we got into a shootout with a rival gang, a well-known gang here in Houston, and 22 people were shot. And that night, I was one of the lucky people to get away, and I went to boot camp the very next day.
So in that one night, 22 people got shot.
22 people were shot.
Wow.
Yeah, and that all that's in the book. I clipped the newspaper clippings and put it in there to kind of put receipts in there and tell that story. So yeah, it's all in there.
Yeah, but now you're making newspaper clips on something totally different, man.
Yeah. Trying to.
Yeah.
Ain't no trying, man. Try to drink some water. Let me know how that work out for you. You either do it or you don't. And you
I've been
doing
blessed,
your
man.
thing,
I got more than I deserve. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So that you said they picked you up and you went to boot camp. How long you was in boot camp?
7.5 months. And I got my GED in boot camp, and I earned
But wait, talking about you was still in school or you was out of school? I
Out of
mean, was
school.
you like considered an adult at that time, or you was still a minor?
No, I was 17 at the time when I went to boot camp.
So they charged you as an adult?
No. I didn't shoot anybody.
No.
Yeah, I got away that night. I was not a participant at all. And I'll be honest with you, and I wrote this in the book too. I won't sit here and tell you that I was an active participant in that. When people started shooting, and I was 16, 17 years old around the time, I was scared for my life. I was on the ground, hoping and praying that a bullet doesn't have my name on it. I'm not one of the guys holding the gun, pulling the trigger. I'm scared for my life. And when the bullets stopped, I started running.
So that's when it got real for you.
Yeah.
All the stuff you had been doing at that moment, you land on the ground like, oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, people can sit here and say how hard they are or what they might have done in a situation like that. When bullets start flying, man, it's scary.
Yeah.
It's scary. And
Nah, for real.
So yeah, I went to boot camp, and
so what you went to boot camp for then?
So I went to a volunteer boot camp called the Seaborne Conservation Corps. It's a boot camp run by the National Guard for kids that are high school dropouts who have a hard time following the rules.
Side note, is that school still open? Like
it's still open. It's called the Texas Challenge Academy now.
So how do kids get in? Because I have a lot, with me being in law enforcement, I have a lot of parents that ask me, and I don't know nowhere. Honestly, I'm like, only thing I know is if they commit a crime, I take them to jail or to mental health hospital. Or if I know somebody personally that just want to like pen pal a kid. But how do you
This is a life-changing program. 16 to 19 years old. You cannot have a felony on your record, and you cannot be on juvenile probation actively.
Okay.
The program is free. It's run by the National Guard. It's no longer 7.5 months. It's now 5.5 months.
Okay.
It's in Sheffield, Texas, and basically you get in there, and the first month and a half, they don't like to call it boot camp, but it's kind of modeled after that.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I said Sheffield. It's actually in Eagle Lake. It used to be in Sheffield. They moved to Eagle Lake.
Okay.
But the first month and a half is like a mild boot camp where they shave your head bald. You can't call mom and dad. You can only write letters. You're getting up early in the morning. You're doing physical fitness and running and marching and doing drill and ceremony. After that month and a half, you go into the education component where they prepare you to get your GED.
Is it co-ed?
Mm-hmm. It is co-ed.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to.
Hey, y'all Google that, man, because I know it's a lot of people out here need that assistance. Because I get that all the time as well. Like, hey, is there a program? I don't know any programs. Only program that I know of, your kid has to go to jail and end up meeting a person like me that'll kind of coach him through the situation.
I would not be sitting here if it wasn't for that program.
Oh wow! So it really changed a lot.
Oh yeah, man. They're doing it every day, man. They got a Facebook page. Find them on Facebook, Texas Challenge Academy. They post regularly. So it's man, I stand behind that.
Okay. So so that night you knew your friend had got shot that night, or how did that process go?
Yeah, I knew he got shot that night. I went to the hospital in the morning before I went to boot camp and saw him. I tried to see him. That night when all those people got shot, they transported all of them to Ben Taub Hospital and put them on the same hallway. And they had riots break out all night long.
Oh, wow.
And so when I got there, police wouldn't let anybody see anybody or go in the hospital if you didn't belong there. So I knew my best friend was in there, but I wasn't able to see him. Instead, I went straight to boot camp right after that, where I spent the next 5.5 months. Now, when I was there, I did 1,700 hours of volunteer community service, and I earned a $10,000 scholarship to go to college. But nobody in my family had been to college. So when I got out, I had this certificate that said 10 grand. So I'm thinking, shit, I just show up at the college and cash this thing in. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know what
gotta apply.
I didn't know what a scholarship was. My mom, she dropped out of 5th grade, and my dad didn't finish high school. And so I get to San Jacinto College, and I said, man, I need to cash in this $10,000. And they almost fell out their chair, man. I didn't understand what was going on. Like, what's so funny? And so they explained to me, this is not real money. You got to be enrolled. And so I didn't even know what I wanted to do. I just said, what makes a lot of money? They said real estate. I said, fine, put me in real estate. But I'm telling this story because my criminal mind started to set in because I didn't have any role models. So what I would do is just strategize. How do I turn $10,000 into cash? And so I would go to the bookstore or I was in the bookstore one day and I saw this kid come in and pay for a book. And I was like, man, $150 for a math book? That's wild. So I'm thinking I could just put that on my scholarship and charge him $100.
Right.
And that's exactly what I did. I started walking up to all the white kids and I was like, hey man, what you buying in here? And they was like, I'm buying a math book or social studies or reading or whatever it was. And I was like, bet, how much is it? And they would tell me and I would just knock, $30, $40 off of it, charge it onto my scholarship and turn it into cash. And so I did this over and over and over. And I was like the book plug, man. Like I was getting,
Hey,
you know what I'm saying? I was getting,
get it
we had
in.
pagers back
Get
then.
it
I don't know if
how you
everybody knows what a
live.
pager is, but I was getting paged, and so I'd meet people at the bookstore and I would charge stuff. And then one day the school contacted me and they said they wanted to have a meeting with me. And so I had no clue, man. I go in there and they're like, tell me what you're doing with 157 math books. What are you doing with 42 reading books? And I'm thinking, damn, like y'all kept track of it. How'd y'all even know that? And
I'm tutoring.
yeah. So I just kind of explained to them like, hey, this is what I'm doing. Like, is there something wrong with that? And I could see they were struggling to find a rule somewhere
Right.
that said that.
Because I'm thinking this in my head as you explained it. I'm like, it's not against the law. That's
No.
more of a civil thing.
Yeah.
Because you're not stealing. You're going in there buying them, but you're not really in school.
I mean, you could argue I was helping the people, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I could see them struggling to find a way to make it illegal, and they couldn't. So what they did was they put me on academic probation, and I eventually got kicked out of school. So that was my first shot at trying to go to college.
But I mean, I can definitely resonate with that same situation because it was a college professor of mine that told me, like, man, if you would take this street mentality that you have and actually put it in corporate America, you're gonna do, great. And I was like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, I see how you moving, and I'm like, man, I try to move as discreet as possible around this place.
Yeah.
But older people that have come from that background, they can still tell exactly what you're doing. You know what I mean? Because I came in on the hustle. My very first day stepping on Prairie View campus, I had a Louis Vuitton backpack, and I'm like, hey, I'm your guy. You know what I mean? So I know exactly what you mean, and it took me to get incarcerated. It wasn't for a long stint of time, but in order for me to change my ways, it's like, okay, now I see what bro was talking about. Now I see.
Yeah.
And that's the same guy that told me your net worth determines your net worth.
Yeah.
So shout out to Mr. Kevin Riles. I don't know if you're watching this.
Shout out.
Appreciate you. You polished the gem. I ain't gonna lie. I'm shining like a diamond. At
There you
least
go.
I'm on my way to.
Well, I ain't gonna lie, I
There you
tilt my hat off to both of y'all because it's just certain stuff I ain't gotta try.
Yeah.
I'm just like, nah.
Nah,
I'm
but I
good.
mean, like, it wasn't like I was trying. I was just doing it. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like, you got to
right.
think about the situation when I was pushing bicycles out of the department store. You know what I mean? I got the little old job, and I'm like, well, shoot, it's the holidays. I know everybody don't have money. I said, well, look here. You want that basketball goal? Basketball goal, $300. Go buy a basketball. Meet me out front.
Mm-hmm.
Hand me the receipt. Tip me 150.
Yeah.
And there it is.
That's right.
That,
That's right.
but that's exactly what my professor was talking about. Like, if you would use that mind for a little bit more than what you're using it for,
Yeah.
but I mean, I didn't know how.
Yeah.
I didn't know to, because I mean, all I've been around was hood things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So
That's why a mentor is so important, man.
absolutely.
And sometimes we pick the wrong ones growing up, man, and that hurts us.
Yeah.
Or they pick you.
Yeah, or they pick you.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
a lot of times they are predators. Like we talked about on that. Like
Facts.
people, they
Facts.
looking for the person
right.
that they can.
They know they could run game on you and finesse you, and
Absolutely.
you don't know better because you're a youngster. You're just trying to get
Yeah.
trying to get known.
Yeah.
Did that decision making like kind of lead you to where you are today?
What's that?
Like all of the adverse experiences that you've gone through, does that make you like, you know what, I want to help children? Because I know you got into education, working in the schools.
Yeah.
Like, what was the pivotal moment that kind of like, you know what, I want to help other individuals that come from the same community that I did?
So when I got out of boot camp, of course I didn't have a job,
Right.
and I had graduated and got my GED, and I was enrolled in school. I guess you could say that I wasn't attending like I should have, but. So I used to go to this youth center in Second Ward that helped out kids that were in gangs, and shout out to Charles Road Trammell for for being the person that yanked me out of all this. But so he said, man, you got a gift, you know, and I want to use you. Would you be willing to work with kids like you? And I was like, well, what you mean? He's like, you know, just pick up kids, take them to look for a job, you know, take them to tattoo removal, help them enroll in school. I said, yeah, I could do that. And so I said, but I don't want to help kids for the rest of my life. I'm going to be a real estate agent. I said, but I'll come volunteer.
Yeah.
And so I volunteered for a little while, about 6 months. And he said, hey, man, these kids are responding to you, man. They really like you, man. Like there's something genuine about you that people were really attached to. And he said, come work for me part-time. And I said, man, I really don't want to work with kids, but I'll do it part-time because I'm gonna make a lot of money being a real estate agent. So I'll do it part-time.
Look how God was just channeling your
Oh,
life.
man.
You running from it. And
I'm glad you said the word God, man, because that's what it was. But so after I went on part-time, he came to me and said, man, why don't you come on full-time? And I said, I don't want to work with kids. I'm going to be a real estate agent. But in the meantime, I'll come work full-time for you. And I haven't stopped doing it since then.
That's all right. That's all right.
But in the middle of all that, I think I really just wanted to put back where I had taken from. I felt like I had taken so much out of this world. If I could give anything back, I wanted to do that.
That's real. I mean, but that kind of ties in that whole loyalty thing. Like you were loyal to the streets, and now you're loyal to something else, something that's greater than you.
Loyal to change.
Yeah.
Loyal to change.
There we go. That's beautiful.
So with you getting out of the gang, was it any resistance there? Because I know a lot of gangs be like, it's only one way out, or like you gotta. So what were the consequences of you just saying, hey, I don't want to do this no more?
That's a great question, man. You don't just walk away from gangs. And so in my case, I was in school and I was mentoring kids at this youth center. And my best friend, who was not paralyzed, you know, reached out to me and was like, why you ain't come around no more? You know, and I'm like, man, I'm helping kids. I'm doing this. And, you know, I'm going to school. And so he tolerated that for a little while, but it got to the point where the gang started putting pressure on him. Was like, man, where's this cat at? And so he called me one day and he said, man, you need to come over here and hang out or come over here and get out, is what he told me. So I'm 17, 18 at the time, and I'm like, bro, I'm a grown man. Like, you know.
Y'all figure that.
Yeah, I ain't got to go over there so 50 of y'all could put me in the hospital just so I could earn your respect. You know, I felt like at that point, I ain't hood hop. I ain't go to the police and tell nobody nothing. You know, I ain't talk to nobody. My mouth's always been closed. I ain't never, you know, put no secrets out there in the hood. I felt like, and I was as loyal as you could be. I was ready to put my life on the line on multiple occasions and did for the gang. And so I felt disrespected is what it was. And so 17, 18 years old, I said, man, y'all want me, y'all come and get me. And that's exactly what they did. So I probably fought with them for the next 10 years all around town. At a taqueria, at a gas station, at the, you know, you name it, man, at the car show.
They just pop out on you.
Oh, man, Los Magnificos car show, we got into it, man. So this went back and forth for almost 10 years.
Wow.
And the leader's youngest brother, shout out to him, man. He reached out to me and said, hey, man, I'm not calling you about all the stuff that's going on between you and my brothers. I'm calling you because I want to get my GED. And I know you help kids. Can you help me out? And I said, yeah, I can do that, man. I said, well, you know, what you have in mind is like, can you get me enrolled in school to take my GED? I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to start that process. And I said, I got you, man. And so, you know, I talked to my boss about it, who knew my story. I worked for the mayor's anti-gang office at the time, and my boss said, don't do it. It's a setup. These guys have been trying to get their hands on you for years. I talked to my wife about it, and she was like, don't do it. I'm scared for you. You know, these guys are coming after you.
Oh, yeah, that is true. So it could have possibly been a setup.
But you know, I don't think they understood that this is something I had to do. I had to make this right. You know what I'm saying? I had to end this. I can't just keep running, and I can't just keep looking over my shoulder because now I had a wife and I had a son. I needed to know there was an end to this. And so I agreed to meet him. And so I got him hooked up with a GED program. He actually got enrolled, called me back a couple months later, said he got his GED. I was, you know, happy to hear that. And he said, now, can you help me get in college? And I said, yeah, man. I said, you know, I'm not a college graduate, but I know how that process works. You know, meet me.
Do you want to sell some books?
Meet me at the college, and so I helped him fill out his financial aid paperwork. He got enrolled, and he called me back a couple months later and was like, "Hey, man, I'm in school. Just want to let you know." He said, all those problems you have with my brother, he said, I'm going to cut for you, man. He said, you're not going to have problems with anybody else.
Oh, wow.
He said, that's over with, man. So just, you know, I want you to know I appreciate what you did for me. You know, I told my brother what you did for me, and he said, it's dead. It's dead. You know, do you. And that was the last time I had any issue with anybody. And so I have seen them since then. I'm sure you're probably going to ask me that. And what that looks like now is they just don't even pay attention to me. They just look the other way, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
You know, they were family to me at one point, so I wish that we could still have a professional, you know, respect for each other. But it's just not like that. And I'm okay with that. At least they're not my enemies, you know.
Right,
But
right.
I do respect who they are. They gave me a foundation. I feel like there's something that I learned from them that still helps me today, and so I'm appreciative of that. Even though I understand that was a unique part of my life.
Right.
Yeah.
And see, I like the way you put that, because I mean, you always want to help those, you know what I mean, that's from your previous life or whatever that may be, you know what I mean? Because I look back at some of the people that I've assisted, you know what I mean? Like I've gotten, and he get on me about this all the time. He say I'm too loyal to an extent.
Yeah.
And it's like, I want people with me that have been there. If I'm coming up, I want to bring you with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
we had this conversation earlier, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's like sometimes you feel like you're so loyal, and it's like, okay, I'm in position, I can help you. But these people are gonna want you to perform just as much as I do, because I'm putting my name out on the line.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the buddy actually finishing his GED and wanting to go to college, that's 5 stars for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That make your credibility goes up.
Yeah.
But then you have those situations where it's like people don't necessarily
Yeah.
hold up to their end of the bargain. And it's like, you didn't have the integrity enough, you know, for me to put my name out on your, whatever the situation was, and don't follow through. And it's like, God, leave me, I shouldn't have put nobody on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I feel you. I understand that. I think that's that neighborhood thing, man.
That's
like,
what it is.
I think it is, man. Like, it's in your DNA where, like,
Yeah.
if you make it, you take everybody with you, man. And,
Yeah.
and
Especially the ones you jumped off the porch with.
yeah, I think the unfortunate part is that sometimes we try to take people with us that ain't ready. You know, that maybe they express a desire, but they're not ready to walk that walk, because it takes work. It takes work to do that, man.
It really does.
And so it's a shame sometimes when you try to put somebody on because you feel that obligation, and they don't hold their end of the deal. You know what I'm saying? Then you have to cut ties with them. You look like the bad one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you know, if you don't take somebody with you on your way to the top, then
Man, you
what's
fake,
the
you switched up.
repercussions?
Yeah.
That's right. You think you're too good. You don't forgot where you
Yeah.
came from. So I think that's that neighborhood built into us, man. We're just wired to take people with us.
But I mean, at the same time, you got to look at it like it's almost like a nepotism type of situation. You want to put the next person on. I mean, look at LeBron and Bronny. You know, Dion and Shador.
But you're naming their kids though. That's
Yeah,
the
but
difference.
even still, I mean, okay, Michael Jordan and his son, he didn't fill the shoe. I
saying,
mean,
though,
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, because me and him kind of different on that.
Yeah.
I don't care about leaving nobody behind. I'm like, I gotta go. Like, once I get to where I'm going, I'm not, because, you know, I'm not finna drown with you, you know. And
Well, I reached back for you so we can start this.
hey, man, I was already on my, respectfully, I was already on my journey. So it's
I get it, but at the same time, like, it's just like, okay, I've helped people when I was working at Shell. I got 2-3 people on when I was working at Shell.
Yeah.
And now one of the individuals, even though I parted ways with the company, he's like one of the head managers at Centerpoint now. You know what I mean? Like, it's just some people end up being a success story. You know what I'm saying? The other homie, he checking the wells and everything. Like, he went on to do other greater things.
I'm not saying you wrong. I'm not saying neither one of y'all, because it's if you built for it, you built for it. You know, like I really be mad at. I be going to pull up to people's house, like, bro, I put you on and you missed this opportunity. I'm like, that's why sometimes I hold myself in. Not that I don't want to put people on, but I be that passionate about it. So like with your recent situation, I would have pulled up like, hey, fam, what are you doing? Like, we got to have this conversation. So to protect me and protect you, sometimes I just be like, and then what I realized too is I like to see how much somebody wanted. It's not really a game, but it's the truth. So for me, it's like, I give you everything that you need, like the knowledge. Then I sit back and see. Then when you calling me, I'm like, did you do this? Nah, I was trying to see. Did you do this? Well, okay, you don't really want it that bad. Well, I'm not finna waste my
Okay,
time
but what if a
today.
person does everything that they said that they were gonna do, or everything that you asked of, and still don't fulfill?
That ain't me. That just ain't your purpose. Like even like with you when you reference like putting me on, like in reality, like God has a way of working things out. Like I like smooth transitions because I'm a believer. Like I believe that if it's meant for you, it ain't gonna be no like rocky road. Like I mean, you gonna have like ups and downs, but
Yeah.
like for instance, when you called me ever since that day, it's been smooth. We've had problems,
Yeah.
but it's been smooth. Even through our problems, it's been, and he knows it. Like when he decided to change his life and give his life to God, his problems come with it, but it's been smooth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so like I tilt my hat to both of y'all because some people are that. Some people are always trying to bring people up, and
Yeah.
it's a lot on you. You gotta, because you have to sit back and continue take like not your losses, but you got to take their losses.
Day losses, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and that's
I
what
feel
I
that.
don't like. I don't like
feel
watching
that.
people
Yeah.
lose.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
And
saying?
that touched on what we talked about. It's like,
Yeah,
dang,
man.
is that a shot on my credibility? Like, yeah, to a certain extent. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, the last one didn't necessarily work
Mhm.
out, you know, but it's like, I mean, we still mess with you though.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this. He working with kids. Now, it's a different story when it come to children.
That's right.
Like, I don't hold children the same responsibility or the accountability as
Yeah.
adults. Like, I will really, I do the most I can for a child.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting them to have the mental capacity, but an adult, like, come on.
I mean, see, I've been working with these kids for just under 8 years, right? And it pains me to see them after you've poured into them for years. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey man, you could do this. Hey, you could do this, and they don't necessarily do a 180. It's like a 90.
It's a roller
leaning-
coaster.
Right. It's like, man, I
Have
want to
ups and
go the right
downs.
way, and it's like
They just
then they end up back at square one. It's like, bro, like,
Yeah.
why you didn't call me? I know you might have needed
yeah.
that little extra vote of confidence,
Yeah.
but you ain't have to go do that. Cause man, I'm telling you, man, just to hear or see on the news one of the kids that you've been pouring into locked up for murder or killed, bro, that hurts. That hurts.
But you know, I try to remember because I think when you start thinking that way, you lose that momentum.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you lose hope for
Yeah.
youth with too many of them fail. So I just try to remember like we're seed planters, man. We're planting seeds, and some kids are gonna water them and sprout right away, which is very rare,
Yeah.
and you get to see immediate change. And some kids, that seed gonna die for a little while, stay stagnant. You know what I
Yeah.
mean, and just dry.
Yeah.
But years later, man, they're gonna start putting water on it, and they're gonna remember all the stuff that you done poured into them,
Yeah.
and they end up growing. And so you have to go into it with the mindset of like, I'm gonna give everything I got to everybody, and it's not on me if they don't make it. You know what I'm saying? And you got to be okay with that.
I mean, I still give them all everything I got. I mean, it's so many days I leave work mentally drained.
Yeah.
Like I was telling him, like I have to charge my social batteries when I go home and I'm literally in solitude. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, I'm light a candle, you know what I mean? Have me a drink, you know, just kind of overview of everything that I've gone through and say, man, you know what? That one kid that's in college right now, or that one kid that's in the military right now, that one kid that's going to trade school right now, that's what you do this for.
Yeah.
When those kids send me, because I had some of my kids from when I was teaching middle school, you know, reach out to me on Instagram. Gee, I just want to let you know, man, I appreciate you, everything that you said to me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm doing great now. I'm so glad that I finally took your advice and got out the streets. Now I'm working in chemical plants and stuff like that. Man, that makes me want to continue to doing what I'm doing.
Do you get that a lot?
Oh yeah, man. I have kids that'll find me on Facebook.
Yeah.
Happy Father's Day.
Yeah.
You know, I get stuff like that all the time, man. That's a good feeling.
Yeah.
And I've been doing this since 1996. So I run into kids
wow.
I run
You
into
been
kids
doing
all
it
over
for
the
a
place.
while.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's always a blessing, man, when they remember my name and they come up to me with my wife and my son, and they're like, "If it wasn't for this cat right here, or man, your dad," and you know, so that always feels good when they give you your flowers in front of your family, man.
What's one of your memorable kids that actually went like made it, like did something, and you like, or one that you didn't think was gonna make it? You ain't gotta say their name or whatever, but
Yeah.
do you have like a person like that where you like, cause I do the same thing. I go through the same thing with dealing with kids too. So I'm like, I don't know, but I do have the moments where some kids like actually finish and reach out to me later.
Yeah. One of the kids I worked with in the past, he's on my Facebook. He's a captain of a barge in the maritime industry, and he's always posting pictures of himself in the, I don't know if what you call it, the captain's nest. I don't know what it's called, man. Wherever they sit at up high, and he's showing pictures of like from him up top, down low, and you see the bow of the boat and all the water and stuff he's pushing around.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he's gone for months at a time, but then he comes back and he's posting pictures of his Corvette, and he's got this big old lifted up truck, and he's got bikes and motorcycles. He's living, man, and he's super appreciative for the time that me and him spent together, man. And he's always just, every time I talk to him, I appreciate everything you did, and so it just feels good to know that like you played a small role in somebody's life and you helped them get to that point.
Yeah.
So with all of the external things that can kind of redirect or derail a child, like what do you think about the current state of the youth? Because a lot of people saying like, oh man, we in the last days, it's the book of Revelation and all this, that, and the third. It's like, I still have hope because I tell people all the time, like, yeah, the kids we may necessarily work with, they are a bit of a task. And I'm not taking that from, anyone, but you have individuals that are going to Episcopal, Bel Air, these kids are future Harvard kids, future, like it's not across the board. But what do you think about it? Like, what's the current state of the youth? With the whole YN movement and everything.
Oh, man. I think society in general, we're in a bad place. We definitely haven't got better.
Right.
But I think that's why it's important for the people that have love for youth and people that believe in change and the people that feel called to do this work and the people that God has chosen to do this job. I think it's important for us to find that stamina and block out all these external factors and failures and things that are happening around the city and just stay determined, man, one day at a time, like just grinding it out, and going home and waking up every day with that belief that like you can pour into a child and you can still change a child, you know what I mean? One at a time.
Right.
Because I think when you think of like everything in totality, the whole picture is overwhelming. And you start to lose your momentum, you lose your gas a little bit, and you slow down and you're just like, you're deflated, man. Like, why am I even doing this? And so that attitude is dangerous. And so you got to get out of that mind frame and you just got to wake up with a clean slate and say, you know what? We're going to try it again. It's a brand new day. I'm going to pour into whoever I can pour into.
Right. So you do think that there's hope?
I do think there's hope. I am that hope.
There we
You
go.
know what I'm saying?
There we go.
I would not
there we go. I was trying to get you to say that. You know what I'm saying? I was waiting on it to come out, y'all.
I would not be sitting here, man, if people didn't believe in me, man. And sometimes people believed in me more than I believed in myself.
Yeah.
And so if I didn't run into people like that, I wouldn't be sitting on this couch, and so
I can definitely resonate with that because like I told him before, it was a lady that came to me when I was skipping school and told me she sees something in me. I'm like, oh, okay, you see me skipping class right now.
What you looking at?
Right. But that was the lady that ended up paid for 3 college applications, my SAT and my ACT, you know what I mean? And that's how I ended up going to Prairie View. So, I mean, I definitely feel like, just reaching back, bro. I love reaching back because I love the success stories.
Right.
The success story. I mean, yeah, there are less success stories than the opposing, but those 1 or 2, like he said, when you see them out in the streets, if I'm out in the streets and you say G, I know where you know me from because that was my moniker when I came in as an educator, even as a substitute teacher. Because they couldn't pronounce my last name correctly. So just call me Mr. G. So if I hear G, I already know where you know me from.
Yeah.
Off the dribble.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna say I don't like reaching back. I'm like a coach or like on the basketball court. I'm looking for the winners. I'm like, all right, he look like he gonna really make it through. All right, I'll spend time with him.
So you cherry picking.
I'm cherry picking.
But I mean,
cherry picking. It ain't that I don't care. Like for instance, I got this young cat I met.
But you know what? I don't mean to interrupt you, man. We all got our roles. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, my role is to get him to the court So they show interest, and your role is to pick up where I left off, and we tag team. Because I
like that.
can't take them where you can take them. You know what I'm saying? My role is to go get them out the gutter and get them to the point where they can show up to the court and say, you know what, basketball might be my ticket out of here. And your job is to pick up where I left off and say, you know, let me take you the rest of the way, youngster. Give me that hand.
I like that.
You know what I'm saying? We all got to roll.
That's deep. Nah, for real.
But then he gonna cherry pick out the ones that you bring to the court. Like,
well, nah, because he done brought one, you done brought one, and I'm like, all right, who I need on the,
For real.
you know what I'm saying?
For real.
But I got this young kid that I met, cause and we don't be knowing, you know, one thing we all do got in common, and it's why we sitting here, we do care, and we do want to put some type of play in order to help them, and like you say, in our own way. And sometimes we don't even know. Like, I got this kid, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna put his information out there, but I met him on a call, you know, and he was like, man, I want to be a cop. He asking me cop questions. And me, like how I'm telling y'all, I'm like, you know how many people ask me about wanting to be a cop? But I do still give like I say, I still give the information out. Yeah. Every question he asking, I'm answering it. Do this, do that, do this, do that. Then I end up exchanging. He was like, well, can I just get your number? And in my mind, I'm like, yeah, here, give me a number, bro. You know, but through the course of time, he'll randomly hit me up, ask me a question or two. I just give him an answer or two. Ask question, answer. Then one day he hit me up, man, I'm in the academy. I'm like, okay, cool, what's up? That's cool, whatever. Then like 3 months ago, he's like, I graduate. And can you come? Because you done helped me out so much. And I really appreciate it. He gave me this little, like, nice little message. And I'm like, and I'm scrolling, to being real, I'm scrolling. I even asked, I say, man, can you please remind me of your name? No disrespect, but I do. And when he told me, I said, I remember exactly who you are now. But at the same time, I'm just being me. I'm giving game because I don't like to charge people for free game. I'm like, man, I'm getting money. I got my own lifestyle. I'm here to help you if you want to take it and run with it. So I'm giving him the game. And he used it, like you say, and he applied it. Then he graduated, you know what I'm saying? And now he work for a particular agency and he in the game. Yeah. But through this whole process, I was just giving game. Didn't even know. And I was so proud once I realized who he was. And I'm like, he actually did it. And I'm like, that's crazy. But I did not have no idea. I'm just giving game. Like some, you know, like some of your kids.
But what if you didn't give him game? What if you didn't give him your phone number? What if you didn't answer all those questions? What if what if when he tried to hit you up, you turned him off and said, nah, man, I don't get down like that, man. I'm a police officer. I don't interact with constituents. You know what I'm saying? Like I keep it cut and dry. It's either black or white. I don't do that, man. Go on about your business. Yeah. He may not be an officer today.
And that's something that everything you just said, I thrive off of, because when I was trying to get in it, and you probably know this just like he know this, us coming from our backgrounds and where we come from, when you was trying to get in the game, it was a lot of doors closed, a lot of people turning their shoulder, a lot of people giving you short answers, a lot of people just not wanting to help you. And I was like, I never want to be that person. Yeah. I never want to be the person that's not willing to lend a help. And even though, like you said, it take a lot of energy out of you helping people, but for the success stories, it's all the glory right there. Yeah. Like, it's just like, yeah, I may have tried to help 10 people, but this one person that made it all the way through, it's like, okay, and like you say, that makes the purpose or the ride. Like,
I feel like that when a kid comes to the opportunity center, that I've gone and I've cut the hair, because I go to the detention center every now and then and cut the kids' hair. You know, kind of tell them about the opportunity center, everything that we have going on, and then I tell them, well, I mean, you can always find a career in being a barber, and they come to the school specifically because I recommended them. It's like, gee, I'm here now. And it's like, man, I'm glad to see you, my guy. For real. Like you're making the first step. You know what I mean? Instead of going back out to what you already know. It's like you said, it's heartwarming, man. I mean, that's why I say I love what I do. I love what I do. And I just have a passion for it. And I think that we all share that same passion.
That's right. That's right.
So how difficult is it at the beginning, how difficult was it for you to not go back? Like, you done made it so far, and even at the beginning,
Shoot, looking at that beautiful wife, that handsome son of his, you know what I'm saying? Hey, man, I got something to live for, man. I'm already knowing. For real.
Man, I think I've been blessed that God didn't make it easy for me to go back, because if these guys would have been receptive to me, you know, changing, then what if I had a bad day and I wanted to go back and they welcomed me with open arms? I think it's a blessing that they were hostile towards me because it didn't let me go back, even if I wanted to, you know. So I think that's one of the reasons why I didn't go back. But overall, man, I think
Nah, I like that because maybe that's why I I sometimes feel a little bit of hostility when I go back to the hood now. And he steady keep telling me, bro, you need to get out the hood. I'm not in the same exact places and not doing the same exact things, but I don't get that acceptance or those open arms.
yeah,
That which makes me feel like, okay, I'm gonna continue pressing on,
yeah,
going on to other elevations.
yeah, yeah,
Seriously.
for
Yeah.
sure.
I like the way you put that.
Yeah, man. And I think there's just like this burning desire that I think God put in me where I want to be everything that people said I couldn't be. So like now I'm just like going crazy, just trying to do it all, you know, like um I got some plans I can't share. Gee, maybe you'll hear about it here pretty soon. I got
Okay.
some stuff under my hat. But I just got this burning fire in me, man. So, you know, I went to school and got my bachelor's and I was like, man, that wasn't too bad, man. I don't know what I was doing going to school 3 years in ninth grade. And then so I went back and I went and got certified in HVAC. And I was like, man, that wasn't too bad either, man. I can get I went back and got my master's, did the accelerated program and knocked it out in a year.
Wow.
Um,
Congratulations.
Thank you,
brother.
thank
Nah,
you.
yeah, big
And
congrats.
I've been blessed to do some good things, man. I work for a school district. I got to work with the security staff. I got to be over threat assessments in the district and have a playing an active voice in how we handle those situations. And so I've just been blessed across the board, man. And you know, I'm trying to do now. I'm just trying to share my story and I'm trying to give back. And I think I find my joy now in just building up other people and then sharing my experiences, man. I think my role is to help build people now. And I'm not just talking about kids. I'm talking about other adults that I work with as well.
In general. In general. I mean, J.O., I tried to tell this man you was amazing cat, man. You know what I'm saying? You ain't do nothing but fulfill. Like I reached out and you fulfilled. Now
Yeah,
I
yeah.
appreciate that, Doc. You know what I'm saying? As a closing remarks, is there anything that you would like to share with the public?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So in the middle of all this gang stuff, um, I found out I like to write. I like, you know, and I just write. I like to write poetry, and it takes me away from all the darkness that's in this world. And so I started writing my wife like these little cute little poems. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then over the last 6 months or so, I had this epiphany that I wanted to write poetry for kids, something that kids would enjoy,
Okay.
but young kids like kindergarten through fifth grade.
Okay. Okay.
So I told my
On some
wife,
Dr. Seuss.
I told my wife, I said, what if Dr. Seuss and Shel Silverstein had a collab and they came up with this like book with like
Yeah.
poetry for kids? I said, that's what I'm feeling right now. And so she's like, you really want to write? So I said, yeah. And so I knocked out 10 poems that I feel like are gold, man. And I did it in 2 weeks.
You got
And
one
so
for us?
I do got one for you, and I'm gonna try to launch this book at the same time I'm launching my other books. So I'm gonna try to get them out at the same time. But I'm gonna read you one,
Bet.
and this one's called "Doink in the Closet."
Okay.
All right, and I remember this is whimsical because these are kids, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And this has to do with like the monster in the closet, and the doink is just kind of a loud noise you hear in the closet. So I'm gonna read it to you guys real quick. So
Okay. Bet.
this is the one I like the most. So it says this. It says, "I just heard a doink in the closet. What could it be? A leprechaun or a hobbit? No matter the creature, I'm gonna stay still. If I stay super silent, he might leave it as will. I bet he has fangs or a giant pointy nose. He probably spits fire with long wrinkled toes. And if I squint real hard, I can picture his feet. They're nasty and ugly like hamburger meat. And then there's his face. Oh, what a face. It's bumpy and scary, and he has hair all out of place. And his teeth are all sharp and rotten and smelly, and his t-shirt's too small to hide his big belly. Oh man, I'm so scared. I don't know what to do. Should I run real fast and out of this room? Or maybe, just maybe, I need to calm down. Maybe he's nice with a smile, not a frown. And maybe he's looking for a friend just like me. Somebody who's nice, who likes to climb trees. Should I try to say hi? I don't want to be rude. He might actually be this incredible dude. What if he isn't all scary and hairy? What if he's kind and his first name is Larry? Whatever it is, I'm about to find out because the door handle just turned, so I covered my mouth. And all of a sudden, a shadow appeared, and my mom said, "Hi, sweetie. Why are you acting so weird?" It turns out she was just hanging up clothes, except for my underwear folded in rows. No monsters, no trolls, no leprechauns or hobbits. Just my mom doing mom things, going doink in the closet.
I like that.
You know what I like so much about it? It's Mother's Day weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah, for real.
Man, it just keep getting better and better.
Nah,
We gotta
for real.
end it on that, man.
for real.
We definitely gotta have you come back.
Yeah, J.O. real talk.
Man, the thing about these episodes, bro, we just normal kids that grew up
That's
and
it.
became something, never knew what we would become. And we started doing the podcast, and we get to talk to people like you that reminds us of ourselves. And
Yeah.
man, we thank you. We
Yes, sir.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you for having me. I
Definitely want to
appreciate
have
that.
you
Real
come
talk,
back
real
because
talk.
we like to set a limit. So, you know,
Yeah,
an
yeah.
hour really just be the limit because we could really talk for 5-6 hours,
That's
you
right.
know.
Yeah.
But we got to have you come back. And
All right.
real talk.
we
Appreciate
just
that.
scratched the surfaces, brother.
Appreciate that, man.
Man.
Looking out.
And there it is, family. Another quick conversation with your boy, Mr. Quick.
And I'm King Drew Millions.
And we
And
chopped it up.
And I'm J.O.
Oh,
There we go. Yeah. And we chopped it up.
and
You
we
feel
chopped
me?
it